The World in 2050, by Hamish McRae, is a thought-provoking exploration of what the world might look like by the middle of the 21st century. In this comprehensive analysis, McRae examines the political, economic, technological, and environmental trends shaping the future, offering insights into how societies, businesses, and individuals may adapt to the challenges and opportunities ahead. Central theme: predicting the future. McRae's central argument is that while predicting the future is inherently uncertain, we can make informed projections by analyzing current trends and understanding historical patterns. The world in 2050 will be shaped by forces that are already visible today, including demographic shifts, technological innovations, economic development, and environmental changes. McRae emphasizes that the future will not unfold in a linear or uniform way. Different regions will experience divergent outcomes depending on how they respond to these forces. Demographic changes. One of the most significant factors shaping the future, according to McRae, is the shift in global demographics. The world's population is projected to reach around 20 billion by 2050, with most of the growth occurring in developing countries, particularly in Africa and parts of Asia. In contrast, many developed countries, especially in Europe and East Asia, will face declining populations and aging societies. This demographic shift will have profound implications for the global economy. Africa, with its young and growing population, will likely emerge as a major player on the world stage, both economically and politically. However, the challenge for African nations will be to create sufficient jobs and opportunities for this expanding workforce. If managed well, Africa could experience rapid economic growth, but if not, the continent could face increased instability and migration pressures. In contrast, countries like Japan, Germany, and Italy will struggle with the challenges of an aging population, including a shrinking labor force and rising healthcare costs. These nations will need to find ways to boost productivity through automation and technology to compensate for the demographic decline. The global shift in population dynamics will also affect migration patterns, with more people likely moving from developing to developed countries in search of better opportunities. Economic power shifts. McRae predicts that by 2050, the global economic balance of power will have shifted significantly. While the United States and Europe will remain important economic centers, the rise of China and India will continue, and they will likely become the dominant economic forces by mid-century. McRae forecasts that China will surpass the US as the world's largest economy, with India not far behind. However, McRae notes that economic power does not necessarily equate to political or military dominance. While China's economic rise is undeniable, its political and social systems may face internal challenges that could slow its ascent. Similarly, India's rapid growth will depend on how well it manages its domestic challenges, including poverty, infrastructure development, and education. In addition to China and India, McRae points to other emerging markets that will play a larger role in the global economy. Countries like Brazil, Indonesia, and Nigeria have the potential to become economic powerhouses, provided they can overcome governance and corruption issues. Overall, McRae envisions a multipolar world, where economic power is more distributed and less concentrated in the hands of a few. Western nations. Technology and innovation. Technological advancement is another major theme in McRae's vision of the future. He predicts that by 2050, the world will have undergone a technological revolution, driven by artificial intelligence, AI, automation, and biotechnology. These innovations will transform industries, reshape labor markets, and alter how people live and work. One of the most significant changes will be the rise of automation and AI, which will revolutionize manufacturing, services, and even creative industries. While these technologies will increase productivity and efficiency, they will also lead to job displacement in many sectors. McRae argues that societies will need to adapt to this shift by investing in education and training programs that prepare workers for new kinds of jobs that cannot be easily automated. biotechnology will also play a transformative role, particularly in healthcare and agriculture. Advances in gene editing, personalized medicine, and regenerative therapies could significantly extend human life expectancy and improve quality of life. At the same time, biotechnology will be essential in addressing global food security by enabling more efficient and sustainable agricultural practices. However, McRae warns that these technological advancements will not be without risks. Issues such as data privacy, cybersecurity, and the ethical implications of AI and biotechnology will need to be carefully managed. The challenge for governments and societies will be to harness the benefits of these technologies while mitigating their potential negative impacts. Environmental challenges and sustainability. Climate change and environmental sustainability are central to McRae's vision of the future. He argues that by 2050, the world will be grappling with the effects of global warming, including rising sea levels, extreme weather events, and resource scarcity. How countries respond to these challenges will determine the overall trajectory of global development. McRae is cautiously optimistic about the world's ability to address climate change. He believes that technological innovations, such as renewable energy, electric vehicles, and carbon capture technologies, will play a crucial role in reducing greenhouse gas emissions. However, he stresses that these solutions will need to be implemented on a large scale, and time is running out. In addition to technological solutions, McRae highlights the importance of international cooperation in tackling environmental issues. Climate change is a global problem that requires collective action, and McRae emphasizes that countries will need to work together to develop policies and agreements that promote sustainability. He also points out that developing countries will need support from the international community to transition to greener economies without sacrificing their growth prospects. Water scarcity and food security will be critical issues by 2050. Many parts of the world, particularly in the Middle East and Africa, are already facing water shortages, and these problems are expected to worsen as the climate changes. McRae argues that innovation in water management and agricultural practices will be essential to ensure that the world can feed its growing population. Geopolitical shifts and global governance. McRae predicts that the geopolitical landscape in 2050 will be marked by a decline in the dominance of Western powers, particularly the United States and Europe, and the rise of new global players, including China, India, and other emerging markets. This shift in power will lead to a more multipolar world, where no single country or region holds overwhelming influence. However, McRae does not foresee a complete breakdown of the existing international order. Instead, he suggests that global institutions, such as the United Nations, the World Trade Organization, and the International Monetary Fund, will evolve to reflect the new realities of global power. He argues that these institutions will need to be reformed to accommodate the interests of emerging powers while continuing to promote international cooperation. One of the major challenges for global governance in 2050 will be managing the tensions between nationalism and globalization. McRae points out that many countries are already experiencing a rise in nationalist movements, driven by economic inequality, cultural anxieties, and concerns about immigration. Balancing national interests with the need for global cooperation will be a delicate task for future leaders. Conclusion: a world of opportunities and challenges. In the world in 2050, Hamish McRae presents a future that is both exciting and uncertain. The coming decades will bring significant changes in demographics, economics, technology, and the environment, and how societies respond to these changes will determine the course of human progress. McRae is optimistic about humanity's ability to adapt and innovate, but he also cautions that the challenges ahead, particularly climate change and economic inequality, will require concerted effort and cooperation. By 2050, the world will be more interconnected, technologically advanced, and environmentally conscious, but it will also face new political and social dynamics. McRae's vision of the future is not a prediction of inevitability. but a roadmap for navigating the complex forces that will shape the next few decades. Whether the world in 2050 will be one of prosperity or crisis depends on the choices made today.